I think that the sooner Disney collapses, the sooner the rest of the industry will right the ship. Because when you go through the archives of what's been released in the last couple of years that isn't Disney, you're hard pressed to find something that has any type of agenda anywhere near the level of what Disney has released. That's a
Yeah.
good sign.
Yep.
When was the last woke movie that Sony put out after Ghostbusters 2016?
Yeah.
I
They
can't
kind of
think
learned.
of
A lot of them learned their lesson.
Right, but
Spider-Verse.
Disney seems to still be the tip of the spear. It's like that
Yes.
canary in the coal mine when they're refusing to change. And I know they have stuff in the pipeline, as we talked about the last time I was on here with Valiant. It's like they have 2.5 years worth of stuff. But this is my question that I always keep forgetting to ask. To save their brand, why not just shelve some of that for a while and start working? You can't.
Violation of fiduciary duties. If you have a property that it can potentially make money, you have to explore development and release of that property.
Like the Snow White, with the backlash that it's been receiving continuously.
Well, Snow White's a public domain. Disney doesn't legally own it.
Okay. So with the rest of them, it's the same. They can't just pay the people off. Like, to me, from a business decision, I wouldn't release something like this. It's going to cause me more damage, and it's not going to turn a profit.
True, but they've already spent so much money on it, they have to release it to even try to mitigate how much they'll lose. I mean, granted, they're not going to lose a small amount. They're going to lose a lot, but...
Script is right, and on top of that, I'll add another thing to what Script says. I feel like I'm Script's assistant today, but on top of that, no one talks about the absolute interest calculations that they accrue per day, per week, per month, every time. As soon as they move something back or these projects move, that interest calculation goes like it's like a match on a Mission Impossible opening. It just starts burning.
Yeah, people seem to forget that. I mean, these projects are funded with leverage. I mean, Disney is not. They're not sitting on, 10, 15, 20 billion dollars of cash that they just have in a pot somewhere that they go draw on to go shoot the next Disney Plus show.
Well, not only that,
movie.
They're assets.
They borrow. Yeah, they borrow to do this kind of stuff. And it goes back to the conversation people are asking me, weeks ago. Where are they getting the money for the Acolyte? I'm like, the same place they get the money for anything else anytime Disney greenlights something. They go to the bank. I mean, the reason that Disney has, put it this way, Disney closed the Industrial Lights and Magic office. Where? Singapore. Not the UK. Why? Because they have a huge footprint in the UK. They do tons of productions over there. They have an entire Disney UK operation.
But they're probably one of 100 houses over in Singapore. You're right, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that they have so much more footprint where they get these big tax credits. They have a huge line of credit with HSBC Bank or Barclays or Lloyd's of London or all three. For all I know.
All of them.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I want to address the write-off thing for just a moment, too, if I can.
Well, hang on a second.
Finish your points, Valiant. I'm sorry. Yeah.
But the point is that they have access to these funds to go shoot these projects. So what Mike is saying is that, they're going to go out there to HSBC Bank or Lloyd's or somebody, and they're going to say, all right, we need $250 million, or they have a line of credit. Let's say the line of credit at Lloyd's is $2 billion. Okay? They greenlight a project like the Acolyte. They're going to say, okay, we're going to greenlight an expenditure of $200 million or $250 million, whatever the case may be. They don't draw on the line of credit until they actually get into the need for the money. So once they start spending it, once they start completing a project, whether it's that or whether it's Snow White like George is talking about, it doesn't matter. The minute they start drawing on that line of credit, the interest is accruing. It is incumbent upon Disney or anybody else out there to get that project to market as quickly as possible, or at least do it at a time that is the most amenable to have the highest number of sales. Okay, whether it's a theatrical release or a Disney Plus release, whatever the case may be. So they have to play within those rules. So for every day, every 6-month delay that goes out there, and right now, where you're talking about, well, let's say that Disney is just paying LIBOR +1 or something like that. There's the interest charges now compared to 2 years ago are significantly higher. So, I mean, you're talking about it's costing them 5-6% a year in some cases for some of these things on these lines of credit. I mean, it's costing them. You talk about $200 million. You're talking about $10 million a year in interest charges potentially on one project that the rate Disney spends to make these things. So that's huge. So they either
one extra
got
layer
to
to
get these
this.
things out. Yeah.
One extra layer. A studio like Lucasfilm, when they make these streaming shows, they make their money back. But the reason they make their money back is because Disney Plus buys it.
Yeah.
So it's left pocket to right pocket.
Yeah, that's it. It's the Disney Plus credit card. So with they greenlight a show, they say like, okay, we want 3 Star Wars shows in the next couple of years. Okay, Lucasfilm says this is what we're going to give you. It all goes. Alan Bergman's involved in all those processes. Like, what are we going to make? They all approve it. They greenlight it. Fine, here we go. So Disney hands them the money via the line of credit. They go out and film the show. When it's done, the Disney Plus credit card, like Pro is saying, gets swiped in the machine, and they pay off that $200 million loan from the line of credit via Lucasfilm and all this. This is accounting. It's craziness. Like, Mike would probably have his eyes spin trying to go through how they do this, but it's all there. And the point is that that's where the money comes from to do this. So there's not like there's $1 billion sitting at Lucasfilm or Marvel at these individual studios in cash for them to go do whatever the hell they want, whenever the hell they want to do it. It's all got to get approved upstairs at the level of like the Dana Walden and Alan Bergman. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway.
And I just want to say, as far as the write-off thing, it's like going off of that, like, you know, they take out these loans and they owe money on them. Like when they cancel these projects or they pull them down, like with Disney has with like Willow and other things, the reason they're doing that is they're still taking a loss, right? Like, they're not gaining a whole lot of anything by writing these things off on taxes, like the same thing with Batgirl, right?
They've decided that the tax write-off is worth more to them than the show can produce.
And not only that, they're cutting now before they spend any more money on the thing, like advertising or any other overhead costs that would go into it. And that's kind of the thing. It's like we're basically cutting and running, and it's the only way they can recover and recoup a little bit. And I don't know, Mike, you'll have to explain if that makes any difference on like the loan side of things. Now, is that like the same as like somebody like going bankrupt on a loan or something like that at all? Or
yes,
how does that
each
work?
individual business,
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Television show, film is its own business, and it has its own accounts associated with it. And if they declare bankruptcy, that can alleviate some of the expense as a result.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
The other thing also to account is that, for example, Disney's been working on a third Tron movie for 8 years.
Yeah.
They've also been working on another Black Hole sequel.
Oh, I didn't know that.
12 or 15 years. There's
Maybe
a lot
longer
of stuff
than that.
maybe even longer. There's a lot of stuff in the Disney archives that you can take a look at and be like, oh, I think there's a franchise there. I can assure you there's someone at Disney that's been trying to put that into production since the moment that idea was brought up. I guarantee you there's someone at the offices at Disney right now as we speak that's trying to get a sequel to John Carter that will never happen.
Wow. Because
it's the responsibility to do so. There's always somebody who's in charge of some of the IPs that Disney has. And the whole goal is we own this IP. We need to make money off of it. It doesn't benefit anyone to sit on the shelf collecting dust.
Right.
Right.
And the last two.
Sorry, I just wanted to say real quick, because somebody brought up Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom is an anomaly, okay? Most movies that are sitting on shelves for a reason, because they suck. Okay, Sound of Freedom is not the normal movie that gets shelved. I just wanted to point that out because I saw some people bring it up.
And it wasn't shelved. Fox had full intentions of releasing it.